Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about some weekly stock picks. You're going to see some of the kind of familiar faces, I guess, if you will, as far as the stocks on what I would look to buy this week and going into next week. And I'm going to give you my reasoning behind looking at some of these stocks here, because it could be kind of a hit or miss, though, to be honest. But these are some of the longer term ones that we're looking to accumulate anyway. Before we get into it, just to reiterate, not a financial advisor. Make sure that you do your own research. Also, if you find value in the video, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content, and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can let you know whenever we release new content. So let's get into it, guys. So we're going to talk about TQQQ, Amazon, Tesla, IQST in this video today, and we're going to kind of tell you why. So as you know, Amazon, Tesla had a stock split, and they've gotten beaten down along with almost every other tech play in the market this entire year. And basically rate hikes, inflation, uncertainty, the tech plays have really taken a major hit over this past year. If you look here, this is TQQQ, which tracks the the state of the NASDAQ, and this is one that has been just kind of slowly accumulating on the way down. And it is in currently a bearish pattern, but it could come down, and if it bounces off at $20, in my opinion, it's a good sign for a swing play. So kind of keep an eye on that if you're looking just for a shorter term swing. Look to enter in at about 20 bucks, because you'll probably be close to undervalued there, and you can maybe ride it back up to about 21.50, 22 or 23 bucks. But the CPI data numbers, okay, we're going to talk about the CPI data numbers and why that's important overall looking forward, and why these stocks are going to be some to keep an eye on. Okay, so TQQQ here, again, we're going to talk about this as an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ, and whenever the NASDAQ is doing well and going up, this thing moves aggressively to the upside. When it's doing bad, it'll come down. All right, so and you also have just QQQ, which is not as volatile of a play, okay, that basically you can get in to track the overall state of the market in the NASDAQ. However, it's a lot more expensive than your TQQQ, which is why I like to navigate towards TQQQ. Okay, but the charts are going to look almost identical in that sense. Okay, so we're going to pull up the charts here on Tesla. We're going to talk about the CPI data numbers. So CPI data numbers, and the CPI data numbers, guys, are it's a consumer price index, and this basically has the abilities to move the market, okay, in an upward or downward direction. And if you remember, the last CPI data numbers that we had came in actually lower than expected, and basically it moved the market higher. And then you follow usually by the Fed comes in and says we're going to raise the rates, this amount of basis points. Okay, your next one that comes out is December 13th, followed by the Fed meeting on December 14th, which is going to tell you what they're going to do for the rate hikes. Now, for December 13th, if the CPI data numbers come in lower than expected, like they did last month, you'll have two consecutive, or last time, I guess it would be last month, but if you have two consecutive CPI data numbers that come in lower than expected, the market is going to react extremely positive to that, because you haven't had that yet this year. All you've had was, I believe back in July, you had lower than expected numbers, got a little run, and then all of a sudden they came back and they were higher than expected, and then boom, the markets fell down again. Okay, so you haven't had that two consecutive lower than expected CPI data numbers. So why is that important, and why am I talking about these stocks here? The market needs to know two things. The market needs to know, when is inflation, has it peaked, when is it coming down, and when are these rate hikes going to basically stop. So if, in my opinion, if you get two consecutive lower than expected CPI data numbers, the Fed comes out, they still may raise rates, hike them just a little bit, not nearly as high as what you saw, maybe quarter to half basis point, 0.25, 0.5, and then maybe they take a break and say we're going to let things cool off because inflation's cooling off. Okay, now if it comes out and then the CPI data is higher than expected, then you can expect the markets to obviously react negative to that and go lower. So what you want to do is, in my opinion, keep an eye on some of these major plays such as Tesla, who have been getting beat down pretty dramatic over the past year. And if those numbers come back positive, where it is lower than expected, in my opinion, this is one that's going to fly. Okay, and for a longer term position, it's something to keep an eye on for sure, but definitely for the short term too. So for your short term swing, look to see if it can get down to about 170 to 165, and then ride it back up to about 185, 190. Your support's 165. SMA line's at about 206.5 is what you're going to look at to see if you can go above there. But coming into that week of December 13th, you're going to want to pay attention, guys. You're going to want to see, it's not something you have to get in prior to the meeting. I would obviously wait if you're going to go and get for a longer term position or longer term swing. I would maybe just kind of wait for the CPI data number, see what comes out, see how the market's reacting. Because I can tell you, if they come out and it's lower than expected, we're going to have a nice run to end 2022, in my opinion. Okay, but the markets are looking like they're starting out red today, and what you want to look for here on Tesla is, again, about 170 to 165 if you're going to do a swing play this week. Okay, Amazon, kind of the same thing. Is I've been talking about Amazon, anything under 150 I'm buying, especially under 100. And your low here for the 184 hour time frame is actually about $86. And if it gets back down there, I'll be gobbling up some more, no doubt. But this is another one, guys, that if the inflation numbers come back lower than expected, you can expect that all the stocks that have been getting beat down for the entire year, like tech, in my opinion, to have a nice run for about 1 to 2 weeks minimum, where they're moving up. Then going into 2023, I'm not sure really what to expect at that point, but the market has to see that the inflation numbers have cooled down and that we're kind of making progress, and inflation is kind of peaking and starting to kind of slowly come down. Okay, it's going to give, I think, the overall state of the markets a good boost. So these are some of the stocks that I would take a look at as well. Okay, so IQST, guys, in my opinion, for this week, if you're looking for a swing play, this is an interesting one here, because we got all the way to about 37 cents, and then we came down to all the way back down to about 29 cents, but we bounced. So you want to see if we can get above 32. All right, if you're doing a swing play, I would wait here and see if we can get above that 32 cent mark, and that's where I would look to get my entry in, because that means we can start moving higher. There's still a chance that we can pull back lower and go down to like maybe 25 or so. So if you're looking to enter off of momentum, I would say 32 cents. And then if you're looking to enter off of an undervalued position, then I would look at about 25 cents here and see if it bounces off of there and kind of go from there. But this one here is one in which they're trying to get uplisted in NASDAQ. They have very high revenue numbers and projected better than expected revenue numbers, so you want to keep an eye on this one. This is an OTC stock though, so it's not as it's not like buying one off of the S&P or the NASDAQ and things like that, so it's not as liquid as some of these other companies. However, it's one with, in my opinion, a lot of potential. I've been just kind of nibbling at over the past year, so it's one to keep an eye on. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you in this video. Let me know your comments below. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.